I'm back. I'm sorry it took longer than I thought. I had to get it all together. And I had to make some backgrounds. So I'm not going to hold up. I'm going to wait for the folks to come. Oh, Lord. Talk about treason. Get their opinion on what's going on with Trump and his actions. The deals that are being made without him, without Trump. While he telling stories in front of our face. That's part of what's going on. They don't want us to know the truth by any means necessary. And the people, the independent, the people who are providing more of the truth than they would like, that are being censored. That's just how diehard it is that the truth, any part of the truth that's coming out, that they put a stop to it and not take not one step further. Let me look over here. I had some stuff put away over here. At this point, you just don't know where. Yeah. And I'm not going to try Belinda. Shame. It's a shame. The way they don't want us to put out the truth. It's a shame. The way they hide it. They hide the truth. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Baby boom. And then they had a whole, I don't know, over in Israel, they had a whole, it says tens of thousands of bees have suddenly swarmed across parts of Israel, and they are attacking people. The Israelis are saying that they have never seen such an attack of bees in their lives. I guess the Lord is trying to tell them they need to be sweet. Huh? Oh, I missed the people up there. Pa, Ward, Krista, Belinda, Dorothy. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for following over. If y'all are still here, thank you. She said, I'm here. Yes, indeed. I wish I put the time on it. I didn't put the timestamp. Hello, Crystal. I'll be waiting too. Would like to hear more about Clinton was speaking on. Uh, Back again. Thank you, Dorothy and Joe. Breaker Ted says the full Epstein files show allegations of. Yeah.
And the new Epstein files just proved it. After this, Michael Jackson didn't die by accident. He was murdered by the Epstein network. And the new Epstein files just proved it. After this, you'll never fall for their lies again. Michael was on the island. He saw things. Michael Jackson didn't die by accident. He was murdered by the Epstein network. Michael Jackson didn't die by accident. He was murdered by the Epstein network. Michael Jackson didn't die by accident. He was murdered by the Epstein network. And the new Epstein files just proved it. After this, you'll never fall for their lies again. Michael was on the island. He saw things he wasn't supposed to see. He hated it. He wanted to speak out. That's when they started destroying him, calling him a pedophile and destroying his reputation. He even began questioning Israel in his song, They Don't Care About Us.
Last year he angered Jewish groups when he sang these words.
That was the final straw. The same network turned against him. Then, they sent the doctor who was connected to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The doctor who was with Michael Jackson when he died, Dr. Conrad Murray, is named in the Epstein files. He killed him and called it an overdose. Michael tried to tell the truth, and they silenced him forever. This is what happens when you try to expose them. Nobody goes to prison. Nobody is held responsible. If you want to know more secrets they are hiding, comment secrets and I'll send them to you. Share this video before they shut it. Michael Jackson didn't die by accident. He was murdered.
Let me see what else I got over here. See, and he is in the Epstein files, and not like people thought he was going to be. Uh, Man allegedly tries to kidnap two black children in broad daylight until a brave woman. Mm-mm-mm. What
Almost
is?
biblical. Something about a first plague. Tens
I
of
was gonna say a
thousands of
plague.
bees have started swarming parts of Israel and attacking residents. And something about this feels almost biblical. Something about a first plague and maybe a swarm of locusts. The irony
Yeah.
of it all was definitely promised to them 3,000 years ago. But there's actually a more recent story that comes to mind for me when I hear this, and that's the fact that Israel killed one of South Lebanon's most prominent beekeepers on April 5th during its onslaught of South Lebanon. The bees are simply getting their revenge. Earlier this month, Israeli airstrikes killed Maruf Remmel, a man who put his heart and soul into saving the bees of Lebanon. He was one of the most well-known beekeepers of southern Lebanon, a board member of the Beekeepers Union of South Lebanon. The union said his work shaped much of the South's apiary production, and his queen bees were used widely across the beekeepers of South Lebanon. His work was absolutely vital to Lebanon's agriculture, an agricultural system that is actively being poisoned by Israel, by the way. They recently dropped tons of glyphosate on southern Lebanon's crops. His bees supported plant diversity in southern Lebanon, agricultural diversity that Israel is actively seeking to destroy with chemicals and now by killing the beekeepers who help sustain the agricultural sector as a whole. And it's not just him. In June of 2025, Israel killed another beekeeper, Mohammed Abdel Salem Nasrallah. He owned 100 beehives that produced 2,000 pounds of honey a year. And he was killed during the supposed ceasefire with Israel, the ceasefire that they violated over 15,000 times. So the bees that are swarming Israel right now, they're just taking revenge. Revenge for their fallen caretakers. Tens of Jews eat
It's a lot.
Chuck Schumer was
Oh my God. Oh my God. A new COVID-19 variant. Please detox. Detected in 25 plus U.S. states. Please detox that cartel out your arm. Well, it's all over your body, but detox that cartel that was put in your arm. My Lord. Wow. Wow.
Chuck Schumer was one of only 7 Democrats to vote to send bulldozers to Israel. 40 Senate Democrats voted no. Chuck Schumer was one of only 7 Democrats to vote to send bulldozers to Israel. 40 Senate Democrats voted no. These bulldozers are used to illegally destroy Palestinian villages. Mr. Schumer, you are out of touch with the base of this party and with your own caucus. Step aside. Chuck Schumer was one of only...
what? Yuck.
Okay, this one right here seems like it's directed directly at Black Americans. Let's check this one out.
I don't want to watch it. I can't watch it, y'all, because I don't. Why? I'm not monitoring.
Okay, this one right here seems like it's directed directly at Black Americans. Let's check this one out from the Islamic Republic.
They said history started on a boat. Show us one. But the land remembers before the lie. Yeah. I was born in New Babylon. Hey, hey, concrete crown, but the roots stay strong. Drums in the dirt, hear the old gods humming on. I was born in New Babylon. Yeah. I was born in New Babylon. Hey, hey. Flags wave high, but the ground tell truth. Blood in the soil, gold in the youth. They sold us the dream, never showed the proof. I was born in New Babylon. Born where the rivers bend like hieroglyphs. Mississippi miles, astronomers and ships aligned with the stars. Equinox map.
Okay, this one right here seems like it's directed direct.
Lab study shows that dandelion roots kill 95% of the cancer cells in just 2 days. Now, I know they don't want us telling that type stuff.
If your ankles swell up,
There go that U code I'm telling y'all to eat by. Check more than one package or one jar or more than one, because they have the same products on the shelves. Some of them have the U, some of them don't have the U. Grab the ones with the U's. The ones with the U's is the code for them to eat clean and not be poisoned by the food. Check your packages. Look for the U or the K. The U is for them. That U is for us, but for them. Y'all got it? That they eat cleaner than we do, and this is their secret code. Another one, copper is healing. They don't want us healed. So you remember a long time ago, I never knew why they would put coppers in the shoes, penny loafers. It was replaced with zinc. Here's why. The electronic neutrons, I guess they found that every time you hold a copper penny, the healing frequencies of the copper interact with your body, enhancing your frequencies. Clean your pennies, keep them near. Don't do away with your pennies. Don't put them in the machine to recycle your I need to go back to using it. Humans are electrical beings which runs on electricity. Therefore, when an individual drinks water that has come into contact with copper penny, it charges, heals their bodies. We know they don't want us to know that.
If your ankles swell up,
We don't want to know why the elites tell. So there go. I don't remember who it was. We was talking about Palm Beach Pete. That's Jeffrey Epstein now. He said the teeth don't lie. My grandmama used to put pennies in the dog bowl. Oh, they don't want us to know nothing. They don't want us to know nothing. They want us to have to go to the doctor. It's like a month and a half ago when I bust my knee. Oh my God, I was in so much pain. I refused to go to the, well, it was when we had the real bad ice storm. So at that point, you know, I didn't go because of the weather. But then I didn't want to take any pain pills. And I weathered that. But I do have a sleeve, my copper sleeve that I put on my knee after I ran out of my CBDR. Oh, y'all can't see that, but I absolutely do have a copper sleeve. And I weathered that injury without any pain medicine. It was hard, but I ain't trying to let them put nothing in me. Okay, let me see. But oh yeah, this is, here you go, right here.
Dan, he's the man. He's the man that's got everything. Super successful entrepreneur.
They said he had a little. It don't really look like he had no reconstructive surgery. Now that we're looking at him right here. Now them bottom teeth, yeah, he can get some caps on them top teeth, baby, but them him bottom teeth. That's his nose. Yeah, that's his bottom teeth. I didn't remember it, but he had a beard. So when I saw that clip, he had a little dent in his, but that's him now. So like right there, it looked like he may have got a facelift. But yeah. And he was recently, yeah, so he got some top teeth. He didn't do his bottom teeth. Jeffrey Epstein, ladies and gentlemen. Them bottom teeth. Okay, y'all hit the like button. Let's go.
With a following of millions and millions of people across social media and a US vet. Dan, he's the man. He's the man that's got everything. Super successful entrepreneur with a following of millions and millions of people across social media and a US veteran. You might well ask, why would he want to go to Washington, D.C. and be Our congressman, well, I think the answer, we'll get it from him right now. I think the answer is he wants to do the whole world a service by getting rid of the most loathsome reptile ever to slither across the floor of the Capitol, a man by the name of Randy Fine. Dan, I've got to ask you, what's in it for you? There you are. You are all the things I've just described you as well as being a magnificent figure of a man compared to Randy Fine. It's going to be quite a mismatch. Not since Marciano fought Don Cockell has there been a mismatch like this. What's in it for you? Why are you doing it?
It's a hell of a build-up. I appreciate that. There's not much in it for me. To me, this is a bit of a selfless act. You know, it's just something that I feel needs to be done, and it doesn't seem like anybody's stepping up to do it. And I feel like there's a lot of frustration in America right now, and there's not many people taking action. There's a ton of people talking about it now, finally. It was kind of a taboo subject, but nobody's actually doing anything. So that's why I feel obligated to do it.
Have you met him yet? Has he dared to face you in public yet?
No, I have not met him at all. I've just seen his tweets and his, repulsive rhetoric. That's about it.
Just give us a flavor of that repulsive rhetoric. I know it well, but some in the audience might not. What's your beef with him?
Well, I mean, he's just dehumanized the Palestinians. He, dehumanizes Muslims. I mean, I think that's something that we've seen in America a lot from the Jewish community, is just a total dehumanization of the Muslim population. You see Bill Maher talk about Islam as the motherlode of bad ideas. And then the moment you criticize Judaism in any way, or a Jew or Israel, you're anti-Semitic. They label you all these things, but they're allowed to just paint a quarter of the globe with one brush. And I don't like the hypocrisy. And I don't view Muslims as the problem. They're a quarter of the globe. They constantly tell us that Sharia law is coming to America and the Islamification of America is, this big threat. And I just don't see it. I mean, obviously in the UK, there's some issues, but I think that comes from bringing in military-age men from war-torn countries that have no allegiance to the land and that they're, impoverished. I don't think that that's a religious issue. I mean, you've got Ethiopians causing, plenty of problems, just like Somalians. One is a Christian nation, one is a Muslim nation. I don't think this is a religious issue at all. I think it's an immigration issue and a poverty issue, so.
Well, we'll come to those points in a minute, but it would be fair to say that if any religious group, if any group who call themselves an ethnicity, it's not something I myself accept, has taken over America, it sure ain't Muslims. It's the American Israel Public Affairs Committee that has bought 93 out of 100 U.S. senators. It's the pro-Israel lobby, not just, of course, Jews, but evangelical Christians in their millions that have a total stranglehold on American politics. In fact, the least powerful group in America are American Muslims.
If you're having trouble sleeping, you got to stop sleeping on magnesium. I'm Daniel, the founder of Organics Ocean, and magnesium is a mineral that can help with...
Absolutely. I love it. I take magnesium as well. Magnesium glycinate.
Yes, correct. I mean, they're underrepresented. You see there's, 3 or 4 Muslims in Congress and there's 36 Jews. And the problem is not that they're Jews. The problem is that anybody that's Jewish can today or tomorrow immediately get citizenship in Israel and flee there if they molest children or do whatever they want to do. And you clearly see that that's shaping our foreign policy. It's not the Muslims that are in office. We have this unhealthy allegiance to Israel, and we are doing, their work at our detriment. And so there's clearly a problem, and it's a problem that the moment you discuss it, as you probably well know, I mean, being one of the OGs of this topic, you get ostracized, you get, canceled, debanked, deplatformed, whatever. And so it's something that
Demonetized.
needed to be addressed, and it was something that I felt like a lot of people believed, but nobody wanted to talk about it. So that's why I felt obligated to come forward and, say something.
Florida's going to be a tough wicket, though, isn't it? Woody Allen called it Jewish heaven. It's a tough place to fight your particular
Are y'all
battle.
still with me? I don't see no movement. Are we still here? Am I?
Yes, no, it is. I mean, and it's also District 6 is the people that vote for the primary are 70% 55 and older. People believe, but nobody wanted to talk about it. So that's why I felt obligated to come forward and, say something.
Florida's going to be a tough wicket, though, isn't it? Woody Allen called it Jewish heaven. It's a tough place to fight your particular battle.
Yes, no, it is. I mean, and it's also District 6 is the people that vote for the primary are 70% 55 and older. So it's going to be a tough demographic. It's a tough race, but I feel like he needs to be unseated, and I feel like I'm probably one of the most likely people to be able to do it. I mean, nobody else is stepping up. Obviously, if Thomas Massey lived there and he wanted to go do it, I'd be cheering him on. I mean, the last thing I want to do is run for Congress or be in government, but somebody, needs to stop this guy. I mean, he's just, to me, I feel like he's a terrorist. I think he should be hanged for treason.
Well, either that or dropped out of one of these B-2 bombers. He would make quite a mess when he landed. The situation in Washington is going from bad to worse, isn't it? The Democrats and the Republicans are two cheeks of the same ass. The quality of leadership on offer in both parties is so bad that probably none of the above would be the winning party in a fair election in the United States. How long are they going to continue this farce of two cheeks of the same ass pretending to fight together, but they clap in the same direction?
Oh, that's a beautiful description. I've heard the two heads of the same bird, but I much prefer your analogy. I couldn't agree more. I think you see it. I mean, it's like they can't agree on anything except for support of Israel. They can't agree on anything except for the things that the right and the left population agree on. They just agree in the opposite direction, right? Like everybody in America does not want to fund Israel. Everybody in America does not want to be in this Iran war. Everybody in America did not want to fund Ukraine, right? But somehow the government officials all agree on the other side. So I think you clearly have corruption. I don't think that you have a government that is working in the best interest of the people or representing the people, and that's what needs to really change.
And Trump is now falling out with everyone. There's almost no one left to fall out with. He's fallen out with Meloni today, sharp exchanges across the ocean with the Italian Prime Minister. He's fallen out with the Pope. We've got J.D. Vance, a convert of only 6 years, standing, lecturing the Pope on theological matters. The white working class bedrock of Donald Trump's MAGA base has not just fallen out of love with him, but is now positively against him by a considerable distance. The progress that he made amongst black voters, Latino voters, Asian voters has gone into reverse. It's hard to see who, other than the Israel zealots, Jewish and Christian, who's still supporting Donald Trump.
I totally agree, and I think it's just been a complete farce. He's sold out the country. He's lied to us so many times. And then he's attacked everybody. I mean, who hasn't he attacked? To your point, I mean, he's attacked the Pope. He's, posted himself as Jesus Christ. He's attacked all of his initial supporters, Candace Owens, Tucker, Alex, all these people. So, yeah, I feel like his base is disintegrating. It's impossible to defend him. Not that I was a defender of him. In fact, before 2024, I, told people not to vote for him. Not that I was a big fan of Kamala Harris, but I just felt like he was an absolute disaster, and I felt like his base was kind of cult-like, and they would blindly follow him a lot further than they would Kamala. Not saying that we should have elected her. I think she was a dumpster fire as well. But that's kind of the problem, right, is you just never have a good option. right? We had Biden, Trump, Kamala Harris, you know what I mean? It's just like it's bad to worse every time. And that's really the problem in our country is I feel like nobody gets to that position unless they have some serious control and blackmail over that politician. And you see it because they all do the same thing. To your point, it doesn't matter if they're left. It doesn't matter if they're right. It's just blind support of Israel to the detriment of our country, and it needs to stop.
Well, for the first time, we've got a majority of people in America who tell pollsters that they agree with that. I personally never thought that day would come, but it has come now. Unfortunately, a lot of people had to leave their guts on the ground to achieve it. But now a majority of Americans disapprove of the United States' relationship with Israel. And amongst young Jewish people, a majority disapprove of the United States' relationship with Israel. How are you going to avoid this? You can't avoid it. We're all accused of being anti-Semites. Even the Palestinians who are actually Semites, unlike the Ashkenazi Jews who have no connection to the blood of Abraham whatsoever, who converted to Judaism only a few centuries ago. We're all accused of anti-Semitism. But some of us are easier to attack than others. You're one of those. You have strongly made your point, the kind of points you've been making here this evening. They're going to mine everything that you have ever said. How are you going to handle that?
Well, I'm not going to apologize for any of it. I stand by everything that I've said. So there will be no doubling back. In fact, there will just be only doubling down. To me, the more I look into this, it's just worse and worse. And I don't look at this as a Zionist problem. I mean, I think Zionists are the problem, but I think it's more of a Jewish supremacy issue. I think it's the fact that their religion believes that they are chosen by God and that they are better than other people, and that allows them to treat the Palestinians like dogs, and it allows them to just, treat them not as humans. And it says that in the Talmud. It says that, people that aren't Jewish are, basically cattle. And you see that's the way they're operating. And so I have a huge issue with that. I think everybody's equal. And I think as long as we want to, coexist as humans on this earth, I think we have to have a message of equality. And supremacy in any sense is a huge issue. We were sold a bill of goods. We were told that white supremacy is the greatest threat to America today. And that's just absolutely not true. It's Jewish supremacy is the greatest threat to America today, and the world, in fact. And you see that in Israel. And so for me, like you, I reject the whole term anti-Semite because I believe the Palestinians are Semites. Semites are Arabs. That was, just one more thing that they've stolen, just like they stole the land. And so I just don't even recognize the term. So if they want to say that I'm anti-Jewish, I would say that I'm not against all Jews. I obviously don't think that you can paint an entire group with one brush. However, I still think that you can say not all Jews are bad, but that Jews are causing a disproportionate amount of problems, and that's my position, is that Jewish supremacy is the threat, Jewish supremacy is the problem, and I don't agree with supremacy in any form. So I'm adamantly against that.
And how much has the Epstein affair cost the supremacists? I mean, it seems to me that after all we know, and the figures the people that we've seen, the pictures, the videos, the names, it's pretty hard to claim you're better than other people when such a disproportionate number of you have been doing things that the normal right-thinking people would never dream of doing. It seems to me that together with Israel's conduct in Gaza, and now in Iran and in Lebanon for all of my adult life, the conduct of the elite in the United States has really counted badly against American support for Israel, contributed mightily to the massive hemorrhage of support that there has been. Do you think that they've learned any lessons from that?
It just seems like they're more and more brazen. I mean, the fact that there's been zero arrests from the Epstein files, the fact that they haven't released all the files despite the, Congress ordering them to, and them being legally obligated to, I think that tells you a lot. And that's, I think, a big source of the frustration is that we're not even getting performative arrests. We're getting nothing. And Americans are pissed. We don't want to see children being raped. We don't want to see children being killed. I mean, that was something that 10 years ago we all could agree on. And now I just feel like we live in this crazy world where, men are women and women are men. And, it's okay for a man to beat up a woman in a boxing match now. And it's okay for drag queens to read to 9-year-olds in schools. And, rape is not being punished. And pedophilia is, somehow trying to be normalized. Like, I just feel like our world is flipped upside down. And I look at where this is coming from, and it's coming from the media, and I don't like it. And you can't say anything about it. Well, I mean, you can, but they start deploying anti-Semitism. And I'm just tired of all that shit. Like, I want it to end. I want there to be Epstein arrests. I want full transparency. I want the government to be operating in the best interest of the citizens and not taking advantage of the citizens. And right now, I feel like all the government employees are getting in there with the idea of, what can I get from this, and how can I help my donors, and how can I get reelected, not what can I do for the country. And that's really the crux of the issue. And so, yeah, I want Epstein arrests. I want people fucking hung from the gallows. I mean, I'm tired
of support that there has been. Do you think that they've learned any lessons from that?
It just seems like they're more and more brazen. I mean, the fact that there's been zero arrests from the Epstein files, the fact that they haven't released all the files despite the, Congress ordering them to, and them being legally obligated to, I think that tells you a lot. And that's, I think, a big source of the frustration is that we're not even getting performative arrests. We're getting nothing. And Americans are pissed. We don't want to see children being raped. We don't want to see children being killed. I mean, that was something that 10 years ago we all could agree on. And now I just feel like we live in this crazy world where, men are women and women are men. And, it's okay for a man to beat up a woman in a boxing match now. And it's okay for drag queens to read to 9-year-olds in schools. And, rape is not being punished. And pedophilia is, somehow trying to be normalized. Like, I just feel like our world is flipped upside down. And I look at where this is coming from, and it's coming from the media, and I don't like it. And you can't say anything about it. Well, I mean, you can, but they start deplatforming you. They start demonetizing you. They accuse you of anti-Semitism. And I'm just tired of all that shit. Like, I want it to end. I want there to be Epstein arrests. I want full transparency. I want the government to be operating in the best interest of the citizens and not taking advantage of the citizens. And right now, I feel like all the government employees are getting in there with the idea of, what can I get from this, and how can I help my donors, and how can I get reelected, not what can I do for the country. And that's really the crux of the issue. And so, yeah, I want Epstein arrests. I want people fucking hung from the gallows. I mean, I'm tired of it.
Now, your social media following is simply enormous. Millions, it's in the millions. Are they getting behind your election campaign? Are you conscious of that?
So I've got a little under 60 million followers across platforms. I haven't posted on my largest platforms yet. I've really been kind of focusing on Twitter. I posted something on my Facebook. But to me, yeah, I think we're going to win the social media battle. I don't even think it's close. I mean, I did a TMZ interview, and it was basically a hit piece. They were trying to accuse me of anti-Semitism the whole time and coming after me. And I looked at their comments on all 5 platforms, being X, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that. And it was like 95 to 97% in my favor. And I think that's pretty telling because that's traditionally, I would think, a more liberal, female audience, not usually my base. And it seems like they all understand the problem. People care about this. People are tired of this, Palestinian genocide. And it's something that people are willing to protest about. People are willing to get out of bed and talk about on social media. So hopefully it will piss people off enough where they can, register Republican in my district and send in a ballot and vote for my primary, because that's what it's going to take. I think it's going to take young voters to come out and actually start having their voice heard. And I think this is an issue that's going to piss them off enough to where they might actually do it.
Well, whether people agree with your overall politics or not, I think I can say that the vast majority of right-thinking people in the world will be hoping that you give a gigantic boot up the gigantic arse of Mr. Randy Fine. So the very best of luck. Dan Bilzerian, thanks for joining us on the mother of all talk shows.
Right now, America has a shortage of over 20,000 gunsmiths. And that means tens of thousands of gunsmithing jobs and opportunities are sitting wide open. And you could be stepping into one and claim.
Over and down, heart and live inside. Trump told reporters, tell that to the Pope that I ran. Oh, Lord. He's still.
Did the Federal Reserve should wait and see about this Iran war before lowering interest rates? Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree. I think we
Hello,
should have
Mark.
lower interest.
Iran's going to execute 4 more protesters, reportedly, including the first woman protester. What do you tell Iran?
Well, tell that to the Pope. What did you say? Tell that to the Pope.
You want to patch things up with the Pope?
That Iran is going to. Did you just hear that? Iran is going to execute 4 people, including the war?
You want to patch things up with the Pope?
Now it's the Pope fault.
I don't know if we're going to have to, but if we need to, I would do that.
Wait, that's important. Sorry.
I'm good.
About the ways you're going to open up the trade.
Yeah, with these lights, I'm going to be finished.
We're paying. It's about half what people thought it would be if you.
Y'all need to hit the like button.
We had to take this journey to the Middle East in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon. There would have been, if we didn't.
That you don't know that they have.
Or if I didn't kill the Barack Hussein Obama deal, the nuclear deal, which was a disaster, we would have had nuclear weapons exploding in the Middle East and beyond. I believe I've been able to stop that.
Well, why none have ever went off before you?
Negotiation going on right now, and I think it'll be, if it happens, it'll be announced fairly soon, and that'll give us free oil, free
oil,
straight, everything will be.
Oh my God!
And I think your oil price will go down.
Who's trying to make sense of it all, right? Because it turns out that Christianity. There is one man who's a devout Christian who's trying to make sense of it all, right? Because it turns out that Christianity has been kind of hijacked in America with a new religion that was just dubbed by Tucker Carlson. Take a look.
So what is the civic religion of the United States? What's the religion of the U.S. government? What's the religion, honestly, of Donald Trump? It's not Christianity, clearly. It's Israelism. It's the defense of Israel. Now, how do you know that? Well, because the United States has set up as its chief foreign policy in the defense of Israel. That's one clue. There's that. But it's much deeper than that. Who are the main enemies, as identified by the President of the United States, of his government domestically? Who are his enemies? Who does he dislike? Who does he attack? Who does he go out of his way to undermine? Well, it's people who doubt Israel. People who stand in the way of the aims of the secular government of Israel. And that would include Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, and the Pope.
Yeah, 3 individuals that President Donald Trump has attacked, even though certainly in the case of Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, initially, they were huge supporters of Trump's. But there's one area where they disagree, and of course, that has to do with the unwavering support and devotion to a foreign country, and that's the country of Israel. So Tucker Carlson, Cenk, believes that we are under a new civic religion known as Israelism, and he provides examples to bolster the case he's making. But before we get to that, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the one particular example is really shocking. So I really like that term because it's not Judaism. Because Judaism has a lot of wonderful qualities to it, like question the rabbi. Israel's like, never question us, right? Judaism is open, Israelism is closed. So that's a great way of putting it. And that is our politicians and our media pray to Israel. I mean, they worship and grovel at the feet of Israel. So it makes perfect sense. But what's interesting, Anna, is from Trump's point of view, with this new religion of Israelism, the Pope is not holy, but Israel is. So 55% of Catholics voted for Donald Trump in the last election. I suspect that's not going to be the case. But as you know, Anna, Israel made Joe Biden and Kamala Harris walk the plank and lose an election on purpose to serve them. Now I guess they're doing the same thing to the Republicans. You'll do exactly as you're ordered by your Lord and Savior, Benjamin Netanyahu.
So, as I mentioned earlier, he did provide some pretty significant examples. And one of those examples happens to be the behavior of, a former colleague of Tucker's. And I just want to note that this former colleague also happens to be a practicing Catholic, allegedly. And I say allegedly because President Donald Trump has been pretty viciously going after Pope Leo, upsetting many Catholics. So let's see how Tucker's former colleague feels. Let's go to C6.
Probably the most mocked and yet clearest evangelist of this new faith is Israelism. And that would be someone, again, who's often made fun of for being dumb or, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it's sometimes people like that that give you the clearest picture of what the people in power really are talking about. And that person would be Sean Hannity. Watch Sean Hannity, cradle Catholic, describe the Pope. This is his reaction to the President of the United States attacking the Pope, head of the Catholic Church. And here's Sean Hannity's response as a Catholic to that. Watch.
He doesn't want any conflict anywhere, and he was talking about violence. And I'm like, have you even read the Bible? Have you read the conflicts, the wars that the Israeli people they were empowered by God to defeat their enemies?
Sean Hannity,
My ex-wife,
a Catholic,
name is
decided
Richardson.
to join Trump in attacking Pope Leo by questioning whether the Pope, the literal Pope, has ever read the Bible. Cenk, your thoughts?
That's the same Sean Hannity that said that John Kerry and Joe Biden should be kicked out of the Catholic Church because they disagreed with the Pope on abortion. But now, when Sean Hannity's in favor of death and terrorism and wars, and the Pope says, no, we're for peace. Jesus was the Prince of Peace. And he goes, yes, shut up, Pope. What would you know about the Bible? The Bible I know loves war, loves a different religion, and loves...
Y'all, please hit the like button. It's very late in the midnight hour. It's 1:36 here. I'm trying to be nice. I'm not monetized, so I can just not do this. Hit the like button. Support the platform. Stop. Hit those three dots or double tap the face of your phone. Yeah, go ahead and leave if you have a problem hitting the like button. Hit the three dots at the top right. It'll take you where you can hit the thumbs up. If you don't see them, just double tap the face of your phone or get out. Yeah, leave. Leave.
It's death and destruction. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, giant hypocrites. But that's because Sean Hannity has never been a Catholic. Sean Hannity has always been a devout follower of Israelism. I've seen him disagree with the Pope many, many times because the popes are almost always against war. And every time Hannity wants war for Israel, he's like, shut up, Pope! I mean, what good Catholic? What good Catholic? Okay? But I have seen Sean Hannity agree with Israel literally 100% of the time. So really,
Absolutely.
Who's his Lord and Savior? Who's his Pope? His Pope is Netanyahu. His Pope is Israel. His religion is Israel. That's absolutely true. And it's not just Sean Hannity. It's almost everyone who works in mainstream media and almost every one of our politicians. I think, Anna, and we're going to get to that one case that I think is so revealing, but I think Israel has given the order to Trump and the other politicians and the people in media, you're to attack the Catholic Church. because the Catholic Church is saying that Israel is wrong for attacking its neighbors.
Yeah, so the believers of Israelism, I just want to be clear. I mean, Tucker called it the civil religion. It's a cult. It's a cult. Like, this is how people in a cult behave. So just be clear about that. People who have been bamboozled and sucked in by a cult turn on everything that they've known
Definitely
and
is a
loved
cult.
in favor of the cult. So just keep that in mind. Now, later in his show, Tucker Carlson also talked about how those who refuse to adhere to Israelism end up becoming Trump's enemies, right? So I want to go to C5, and this will give you a sense of why Trump's coalition is dwindling.
So the president's problem with Pope Leo probably has nothing to do with Pope Leo's views on crime. Problem is that Pope Leo criticized this war with Iran, which was waged in partnership with Israel on behalf of Israel at the instigation of Israel. And he criticized that. That's his problem. So did Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie made the mistake of criticizing Israel's lobby in the United States, AIPAC. That was his sin. Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't say a lot about AIPAC, but wasn't enthusiastic about waging wars on Israel. She got attacked too. That's the only thing all three of them have in common. Thomas Massie is a pretty strict libertarian. Marjorie Taylor Greene is what we used to call a MAGA conservative. Why did they break? Over Israel. Over Israel's connection to Jeffrey Epstein, and over Israel's push for the United States to join all kinds of foreign wars, particularly a war with Iran. That's why they broke. That's the thing that split their relationship and got the president attacking her, and Thomas Massie, and the Pope. So what does that tell you? It tells you what the religion is. The religion is Israelism.
Getting hard and getting turned on are not the same thing.
That is why Blue Chew Gold was created. Science show.
So there you have yet another example. But Cenk, I'm curious which example you're referring to, because I've got one more, but I don't know if we have the same one.
So Trump administration has stripped the Catholic charity of $11 million. And that is a declaration of war. That's saying, okay, that's it. We're going to attack the Catholic Church inside America in every way we can. Because we're going to serve Israel. And if Israel says the Pope is wrong for being for peace, Jesus is wrong for being for peace, the Catholic Church is wrong for being for peace, then it is wrong, because your God Almighty is Israel. And if you don't bow your head to Israel, we will smite you, as they have with Tucker and MTG and Tom Massie. Look, going after the left wing is easy. You have 1,000 excuses to go after the left wing. But they're going after their most ardent supporters, the people who made Trump president in the first place. Now, why would you go against Catholics when they voted for you in overwhelming numbers? Why would you go against your biggest supporters? Because you have been ordered by a higher power, and that's Israel. So that's a stone cold fact. So Biden was a bitch who worked for Israel. He's also a believer in Israelism. And Donald Trump is a bitch who works for Israel. But to them, that's very sacrilegious talk. They're like, whoa, you can't say that. And by the way, again and again and again, our mainstream media agrees with Trump and Biden. It is sacrilegious to say those things about beloved, sacred Israel. Well, Israel's not sacred. They're a foreign government who's been robbing us blind and destroys every American opposed to it, whether they're on the left or the right. And we're sick of getting destroyed in our own country. We need to fight back. And if you say to me, hey, Cenk, you're an atheist, which side are you on? Picking the Catholics here is the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. You know why? Because they're actually Americans, and they actually believe in their faith, and they're real people with real convictions. And they're not a foreign government. I will never, ever bow my head to a foreign government. And you'd have to be insane to do that, or bought by Israel, like almost every one of our politicians and media.
Well, 40 states in our great nation have unfortunately passed legislation adopting the so-called IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. And there's a reason why that happens, especially when you consider how vague the definition is and the examples that are provided of what is considered anti-Semitic. In fact, Tucker delves into that in the next clip. But before we watch that, I want to remind you all that previously, progressive lawmaker Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez voted in favor of adopting this definition of anti-Semitism. Take a look.
The IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, do you know what it is? It's on their website. It's worth looking at. Rhetorical, meaning talking, words, speech, formerly protected no longer, rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. Wait a second. So anti-Semitism is not necessarily hatred of Jews, and it can be expressed toward non-Jews. So you don't have to hate Jews, and you don't have to express or have these perceptions, these feelings toward Jews. You can be non-Jews too. What is this? Well, the people who wrote it at the IHRA...
Can I get y'all to hit the like button, please?
To you. So they gave 11 examples of what anti-Semitism is, just so you know. Like, how do I know if I'm being anti-Semitic? Well, here are 11 examples. Of those 11 examples, and we did the math, 2/3 are criticism of Israel, the state of Israel.
There are a lot of Jews who are critical of Israel. Does that mean they're anti-Semites, Cenk?
Yeah, this is absurd. So why do you not protect Jews under definition of anti-Semitism? Well, because you have people like Bernie Sanders and Glenn Greenwald, Dave Smith, etc., and they're against Israel. So they don't care that they're Jewish. They don't care about Jews at all. They're like, if you're criticizing Israel, we're not going to protect you. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to bash you and deride you all you want. But why include non-Jews in a definition of anti-Semitism? Because Lindsey Graham, Cory Booker, Joe Biden, Donald Trump are not Jewish, but they
He's talking about the fake Jews, not the real ones.
Protect the Gentiles who also
the real
are
ones
part of
say
the religion
that
of Israelism.
to disagree with
those 11 things,
the state of Israel is not
I've read them.
anti-Semitic.
We've discussed them on the show before.
So he does not have a problem with real Jews.
Any slight
He has a problem with the fake Zionists.
Anti-Semitic.
Don't come over here trying to switch it up.
American law now says in nearly 40 states that
real Jews do not use that anti-Semitic.
You will lose government contracts. You will lose your livelihood.
For not just for disagreeing with the political
for not bowing to the
views.
higher power of Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, if this isn't sacrilegious, I don't know what is. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel
you can't
gets
come
a
over here and
swing.
manipulate us, Mark. We are fully aware of the difference of the two. One is political. It's a political movement. And one is their religious upbringing. One believe in genocide and one don't. Real Jews don't believe in that. Nice try, though. Nice try. Let's go, Candace. I need for y'all to get the likes up.
All right, you guys,
I need for y'all to get the likes up. Hit the 3 dots or double face your phone to leave. Your choice. Can y'all not hear me? Can you hear me? Hit the like button or leave. You know, I'm serious. It's a heart attack. Hit the like button or leave. My likes need to go up.
You imagine threats so secret that not even the Secret Service could detect them. Because that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. The Secret Service has come out and said, nope, Erika's a liar, and so is her mama. Okay, basically, I'm being a little bit dramatic. They didn't say her mama was a liar, but I just added that. I'm not lying as much as her. They definitely said she was lying. There's no other way to interpret the statement that they released. I also think it's interesting that they got a statement out to the press. Plus, Victor Marks was, if you did not know this, I mentioned it yesterday, the very first person to announce on social media that Charlie Kirk was dead. In a post that he subsequently deleted, he left it up actually for quite a long time, and given everything that I have learned about him now, the allegations that he is working or was working with Israel, that information suddenly feels very relevant, so we're going to review it. And lastly, the ATF released their summary, not even really the report, and it's a nothing burger. I want you to know that it is one big nothing burger. Everything else is just noise. Welcome back to Candace.
This records conversations better than taking notes ever could. This is Pocket, an AI note taker that records.
I had such a laugh earlier because just this entire situation at the University of Georgia, it's objectively hilarious. You kind of just sometimes have to stand back and watch it all and recognize that it's a sitcom. Turning Point USA has turned into a sitcom. Somehow Erika really thought that she was just going to get away with saying that there was this very credible threat against her life and nobody would go, oh wait, you probably shouldn't say that with the vice president in the room. Like, you can't just say stuff. That's one of my phrases. You can't just say stuff, but you definitely shouldn't just say stuff when you have the vice president of the United States with you. That would actually rise, if there was a credible threat against you, to a national security threat, right? You're saying, my life is at risk. Okay, what? That means that the vice president's life was also at risk. There's no way to actually separate that. So, of course, what naturally followed was there were some journalists who were alarmed, and they reached out to the White House and they reached out to the Secret Service for additional information and comment regarding this alleged threat. And here's the headline. This is in Barry Weiss's CBS, no less, okay? So this is like, she's got contacts at CBS, and even they had to just run this headline. Secret Service determines no credible threats to UGA rally after Erika Kirk's cancellation, the source says. Embedded in the article, it reads, the U.S. Secret Service determined there were no credible threats to Tuesday's Turning Point USA rally at the University of Georgia, even as a planned co-appearance by Erika Kirk was canceled over unspecified security concerns. A person familiar with the matter tells CBS News, according to the source, that the site was secure and there were no known threats to the protectee, that would be VP. Now, while Kirk may have received hostile messages, including on social media, those were not part of any identified or actionable threat stream that was monitored by federal authorities. And let me interpret that for you, okay? There's literally no way to separate this. When the vice president is speaking, if he's going to speak at an event and Candace Owens is going to be on stage, the federal authorities are going to be looking online for threats against Candace Owens, because you're not going to be like, oh, well, that person said they're going to kill Candace Owens, but don't worry, Veep. They're only going to go, when they're there, they're only going to kill Candace. She's interviewing you on stage, but don't worry about this threat. No, of course, they also would be looking at threats against Turning Point USA, about threats against that were being directed toward Erika Kirk, and they said this was not happening. There was a threat against Erika would have been a threat against the VP. And I find it interesting that they got this out, that they decided to speak with CBS, obviously off record, probably because what Erika said embarrassed them, right? That would imply that her security team had intel that they did not have, and the intel was deemed so credible that they decided that she could not do the event, but the Secret Service just decided to press on and to allow the VP. You're basically saying the Secret Service is not good at their job. And they said, no, we're going to come out and we're going to clarify matters. This is mortifying for Turning Point USA. This is Erika Kirk, girl bossing a little too close to the sun. She's just been getting away with all these lies, making phone calls, and finally the Secret Service just checked her. Now, it gets even worse, and I am not sure how I completely overlooked this plausibility. Actually, I am sure, probably because this option was so nonsensical in my mind that it did not even occur to me to consider it. The idea that Erika could have actually been in Georgia already and that she truly canceled in the last minute after she had already been to the venue, that never even crossed my mind. I assumed wrongly that she must have been in Scottsdale, right? That's the only way to make the story work. They said somebody was tracking her flight. Okay, well, obviously, that's got to be a Scottsdale thing. That, in my mind, I thought this, right? And she then decided not to fly in because of some threats. But ladies and gentlemen, I was wrong. That is not what happened at all. Gratefully, I watched Baron Coleman's show last night, and he offered this option, and then we received a tip that Erika was indeed in Georgia already. And you're not going to believe how this actually went down, Erika canceling her event. So right at the top, I just want to say that us as a society, we deserve better psyops. This is starting to feel disrespectful. She is all over the place. They are all over the place. And I just want to say that we deserve better psyops. But I want you to know that the lie that she told here is so big that it is worthy of not just her having to step down, but Andrew Colvett should frankly also have to resign in shame.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
show you how this went down. There's something wrong with both of these people. So just so you understand what happens when the Vice President of the United States goes to any town to speak, or the President of the United States goes to speak, at least 48 hours before he arrives, the airports, the venue in which he is going to fly into, everything is going to be swept and secured. People are going to be sent ahead of him. Military guys are going to be sent ahead of him, ahead of his arrival. Of course, they don't do this on the day of, right? They're not just figuring it out with the number 2 guy in the United States. So on the day of his arrival, they already know how things are going to run, and the entire perimeter, there's going to be an entire perimeter that is set up around wherever he's traveling, right? You're not going to be able to get close to the vice president when he is traveling. So there is, in my mind, therefore, there was a 0% chance that Erika had a viable threat pertaining to her travel while she was already in Georgia. I just completely said that's not an option. It had to be in Scottsdale. But that's what happened, Erika. That's the story they were trying to sell, and here's what actually happened on that day, okay? Well, we'll start before. On Saturday evening, Erika Kirk flew into Palm Beach because she was attending Bettina's bridal shower, which took place on Sunday. Here are some photos of her on Sunday at Bettina, soon-to-be Trump's bridal shower. She's engaged to Don Trump Jr. I instantly assessed that this was taking place on Sunday because Ivanka's there, and so is Ivanka's daughter, and that to sell, and here's what actually happened on that day, okay? Well, we'll start before. On Saturday evening, Erika Kirk flew into Palm Beach because she was attending Bettina's bridal shower, which took place on Sunday. Here are some photos of her on Sunday at Bettina, soon-to-be Trump's bridal shower. She's engaged to Don Trump Jr. I instantly assessed that this was taking place on Sunday because Ivanka's there, and so is Ivanka's daughter. And
they
that
closed,
tells us
y'all.
that obviously it's not Saturday because Ivanka is they're Orthodox. So that happened on Sunday. On Monday, Erika elected to stay in Palm Beach. On Tuesday, she flew from West Palm Beach up to Athens, Georgia for her event. And I want to be clear, she therefore flew into the already secured by the Secret Service, the federal government had already secured this days earlier, the private airport and the terminal, the very same one that the vice president was due to arrive in, okay? Their story is done. It's done right there. So we're going to look at the timeline from that day so that you can appreciate the audacity of the lie that they tried to sell us. Later on, they're going to admit that they lied, but before, let's get here.
She can always make them.
At 1:27 p.m., Erika departed West Palm Beach for the Georgia event, At 2:40, Erika landed into Athens, Georgia. At 3:53 p.m., J.D. Vance's plane begins circling in the air above North Carolina because this is when he receives the phone call that Erika doesn't want to do the event. I'm going to assume Erika called him personally, so you can see that little loop-de-loop. We're going to come down here. That made me more like, yeah, and he just starts, I don't know if we're going to do this event. I'll show you a clip of him admitting, thankfully Barron put me onto this, that it was 2 hours before he got onto stage. So that's 3:53, he's circling in the air, he gets the phone call, Erika's crashing out, and she's not just going to be on the tarmac freaking out and saying there's no safety. The Secret Service is waiting for JD to land, okay? Like that, this did not happen. Obviously, there was nobody at the terminal on her plane. She had already landed, so we can't be like, oh, she thought that somebody was going to put something scary on her plane. She's already there. And so that's what we have. JD Vance then lands, you see, into Athens at 4:34 p.m. So into the same airport as Erika. There's no threat. No threat. Nobody waiting at the airport that was like, oh no, you're good. I know you boys are with JD Vance, the vice president. I'm actually, I'm only here for Erika. I'm only going to harm Erika. 5:00 p.m., the Y-Refi guy who's around too much, he opens now every tour stop and pitches Y-Refi while he opened this event at 5 p.m. And it looks certainly like he acknowledges Erika on stage and looks to the left. He says her name and he says, like, thank you, Erika. I'm going to show you the clip because it signals to me that Erika was just off to the left off stage. Like, that's where you would stand. I've done a million events that she was just off stage, probably was going to come out and speak and say some words. Listen to Lane Schoberger.
Erika continues to support and inspire every day to
And
keep
I
pushing
said,
forward and fighting for the idea that everyone deserves a path to
Grover.
redemption and prosperity.
Oh,
So Erika,
bye.
thank you.
You didn't hit the like
Thank
button,
you for
no
your
way.
friendship and
Bye.
believing in Y-Refi.
Yeah, you know.
So Erika,
you
thank
too
you.
proper. She said Grover.
I'm telling you, I am with Barron on this. She was in the building and she was backstage
Y'all said bye to
where
Grover.
people could not
Crump.
see her. Okay? And what likely happened was she then they had assessed that people were not showing up and Erika was going into a meltdown. Barron even pointed out the fact that Andrew was dressed way too casually, and Andrew is like very metrosexual, that he was just dressed way too casually to interview JD Vance. Like, this literally all had to happen last second because Andrew Colbert does know how to dress appropriately for venues. He would not have been dressed like that to interview the vice president. And so this last minute thing was Erika was already at the venue. She realized nobody was coming and she wanted to cancel the event. So what happens is JD, plane circling, 3:53, okay? He then lands at 4:34. So we're supposed to believe one or two things. They just, on the tarmac, didn't say anything to each other. No, obviously that didn't happen. Did not happen at all. JD Vance says he's going to go through with the event. And the first question Colbert asks him, he sets him up and says, oh, Erika, oh my gosh. And listen to JD Vance say that 2 hours ago, meaning when his plane started circling in the air, that 2 hours ago, I didn't know if this event was going to be happening. So take a listen.
Well, first of all, I love Erika, and I know that she did get some threats. And, about 2 hours ago, as you know, Andrew, I was a little worried that we were going to have to cancel the event because Erika was not going to come, and she was very worried about it. And I talked to the Secret Service, and obviously these guys do a very good job. And I said, you know what? Let's let Erika do what she needs to do for herself and her family.
He's basically saying that the Secret Service said, we have no idea what she's talking about. We're good. We're good. I don't know what she's having a meltdown about. We've obviously secured everything. And he's like, okay, like, just let her figure things out. And I'll tell you what happened. Erika did not leave Athens until 6:39 p.m. She departed Athens and she headed back for Scottsdale. So that's a long time that she was there. Okay, Erika was there for 4 hours. And there was, as the Secret Service determined, no credible threat. They would not have ignored a serious threat against Erika Kirk because that would mean there was a serious threat against the vice president. She was interviewing him. You don't separate that. And what are we to take from this? I just want to be clear, and I will continue to say this. I don't care if I have to be public enemy number one. Erika Kirk is malevolent. She is malevolent. You have to accept that. Because it's not only that she's capable of lying to us, Okay, she does it often. It's the manner in which she does it. There is always a bend toward evil. Okay, let me explain what I mean. Tons of people that lie. There are people who literally have to lie for a living, PR agents, right? They have to kind of always tell us a white lie, and usually it is to afford some protection to their client. We're used to that. Oh, you know, this artist is actually being treated in the hospital for exhaustion. Okay, we get it. They probably had an overdose and they're probably headed to rehab, right? Like, but they're not going to tell us that because is it really our business to know that an artist had an overdose? Probably not, okay? But then there are circumstances when artists do something that is wrong and it's in public. Think when Morgan Wallen, the country star, threw a chair out of a bar window downtown here in Nashville, which he had some bad luck and unfortunately landed a few feet away from some police officers. He gets arrested. What does he do after that? He issues a public apology, said that, like, you know, I went to the police station. I wanted to make sure that I apologized to everyone. I'm not happy about what I did, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Yeah, that's what you do. And you know what? The public is actually very forgiving normally. I love Morgan Wallen. He gets into trouble. It's almost like a part of his brand. The public is very forgiving when you are honest and you own up to your own crap. It takes a very different and a very specific breed of an individual to do something wrong and then to blame the public, okay? To throw a chair out of a bar window and then to direct your public relations team to tell the vice president that you did it because there was an immediate threat to your safety in that bar. And that's ultimately the result of deranged fans online that comment every time you sing a good country song and you threw that chair because you needed the fastest route to get back to your kids at home. Oh, I'm sorry, now it's our fault that he threw a chair? Okay, that's weird. It's a little bit psychopathic. Only a very specific breed of a human could muster the shamelessness that it takes to abandon your public commitment. You committed that you were going to be there. You then decided you didn't want to do it. And to be clear, out of an act of vanity, you decided you didn't want to do it. You were like, oh, not enough people here. I don't want to do this anymore. And then rather than owning that and issuing a statement online and saying, like, you know, I didn't want to be there, or maybe nicely saying that, I'll come out in a couple of days and explain to you guys why I pulled out last second. She then directs her PR team to not just make up a lie, but to create an existential threat to her life, which will ultimately assign blame on the public. You guys failed to protect me. That's why I'm not here tonight. That's vicious. That's malevolent. I continue to underscore what Elizabeth Lane, the reporter, stated in her post, that in her opinion, Erika Kirk exhibits the attributes of a psychopath. That's psychopathic thinking to turn it around on other people because you made a decision. And by the way, I want to be clear, I'm now of a different opinion as to why J.D. Vance came out of the gate.
Erika Kirk
all that
is
energy,
a liar.
Fired up about how she was being treated. I have no proof of this. I'm going to speculate here. But I do know that when Erika did not want people to show up to the Catholics for Catholics event because I was speaking there, I wasn't speaking about her, we're not speaking about politics, we're literally, it was a prayer. She made personal phone calls and she cried on the phone. Okay?
I just created a $47 ebook in 3 minutes flat using AI. Time me while I do it again. Already,
y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and end this if y'all can't hit the like
Vance's
button.
Energy is giving that Erika cried on the phone. I think that when J.D. Vance's plane was circling, of course Erika would have called him directly. She would not have done that.
3 dots at the top right corner.
Person, out of respect. I think she was on the phone with him. She cried. Right? His energy is like the male. I need to protect a woman in distress. Like she's a female. She's in distress. She's like, I'm just scared, and like I'm looking online, and people are saying like they're just saying that like they want me to die, and I'm just like I'm just so overwhelmed right now, Mr. Vice President. I'm just so overwhelmed. Dab dab dab. No
I
tears.
really did love you.
And he was probably like, oh my God. And my kids, I just don't want my kids to be an orphan, Mr. Vice President. I know, I'm so sorry. That's what I think went down. Okay? That is the energy that he is giving, is like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I need to like protect this injured bird. So unfair that she's scared. She's worried about her kids, just an event. And the reality was that Erika just saw the crowd. She didn't want to speak. She dealt with JD, and then she directed Andrew to make up a sinister lie. We're not going to call it, it's a sinister lie, right? I think JD on the phone probably tried to assure her the Secret Service already swept everything, it'll be fine. And then she did something along the, I'm sorry, my family. And he was completely understanding, because why wouldn't he be? She's dropping, like, I don't want my kids to be an orphan, which is what he implies on stage. That the Secret Service had things under control, but that he understood that she needed to do what was right for her family. That's my best read on the situation. I think Erika is calculated. And I want to say to JD Vance, you better wake up fast, okay? That's a black widow, my friend.
Yep, she's
You
a
will
black
get
widow.
bit.
Did not, I've
And
said
you
that
should
how
probably
many
consult your
times?
wife on this matter. Women understand these things better. We know what women are capable of.
She's a black
it's good
widow.
to have that built into you, that your instinct is to want to defend a woman that is crying. But let me tell you, there are some women that are crying who will take you down in the end. And I gotta give credit to the Secret Service coming out and saying that she lied, leaking to the press. That is humiliating for JD because he was manipulated. But it also represents a PR crisis of epic proportions for Erika, make no mistake. And I think it is obvious that they have some crisis PR person, and Andrew was sort of made to step aside because what an idiot for not thinking that would backfire when you loop in the executive office into this absurdity. And it looks like they hired someone probably in the last 24 hours, judging by this article that I just read, which I'm going to show you because this is the first time that the PR was kind of good here for the first time ever. Turning Point did not gaslight the public. So whoever they brought in a woman, and she's like, just stop with the BS. No one believes this. And in the article, get ready, for the first time they're going to admit that Erika may have done some things that are wrong. It's mind-blowing. I couldn't believe the words I was reading, especially because the Daily Mail is one of their favored rags that just like does all of their bidding and pretends that everything they say is right. It says, TPUSA cited concerns over serious threats to her safety, but insiders say that that is not the full story. Kirk has faced criticism from some online commentators who felt that her return to public life after Charlie's death was too swift, or that her appearances struck the wrong tone. A close confidant told the Daily Mail, quote, she is aware of how she is coming across. She's not stupid. She has seen the online comments. She gets it. It hurts. Last month, the backlash reached a new level after a viral video by a comedian, Drewski, mocked Kirk's behavior after her husband's killing, featuring exaggerated expressions and fake tears. The insider continued, the Drewski video showed her what people thought of her. She's really hurt that people are feeling this way about her, that they're mocking her. She pulled out of the TPUSA event because of a bunch of factors. I don't think it was just security concerns, the source said. If there were security concerns, the vice president wouldn't have gone. That's the closest that we're going to get to her admitting that they lied and that actually she was embarrassed and that's why she pulled out. Right? That's like, I was mind blown by that. And then it goes on, by the way, they can never mention me without insulting me in the same sentence, even when they're admitting that I was right. It says, far-right commentator Candace Owens, who has peddled outlandish conspiracy theories about Charlie's death, suggested that Kirk's no-show was due to low ticket sales. But the insider added, it wasn't just the ticket sales either. It was also mental exhaustion of like, nothing I do will be right and people will make fun of me, so she canceled. Okay, so it was because there were low ticket numbers and you thought that you would be made fun of. The writer also recaps that in the weeks that followed Charlie's assassination, she returned to the public eye, appearing at events and speaking engagements despite her grief. Critics, however, claimed that her behavior came across as performative or unnatural, and the insider says, quote, she says that she was putting on a face, a brave face, and that's why she was doing what she was doing. I agree that it was a bad look. Everyone told her it was a bad look, but she did it anyway. I know she's mourning Charlie, we all are, but she just has a funny way of showing it. Do I think that she's mourning enough? That's not for me to say, but do I think that she's coming across badly? Yes, that much is obvious, and finally she's starting to see how weird it all looked. That's a good thing.
And it's scaring the hell out of her.
I read this and I went, wow. They hired somebody who is not Andrew Colbert, and they are copying to the fact that they have been gaslighting us, and that Erika has been weird, and that everything that they have done has been wrong, and that they are telling us absurd lies, and we are catching them in the lies, and they keep lying. What Andrew Colbert should have to apologize. He should apologize to the vice president. I'm sorry to say, but this feels like a win. Right? We got to take it where we can get it. This feels like a win. Like at long last, someone said, it's not working. And we need to pivot. And that's because we have kept up the pressure and we have clocked them on every single lie. I'm at the point right now, I want Erika to just drop a book like, If I Did Do It, you know, like OJ did. If I Did Do It by Erika Kirk. I think that would move more copies than the book about Shabbat. Anyway, switching gears to her dear friend Victor Marks, because we now have proof that he did indeed announce that Charlie Kirk had died first, to the world first, I should say. And it's very interesting. It's interesting because of everything we've just learned about him, and you wonder where he got that information. It's at least relevant enough to plot on our timeline, is it not? I think so. Victor Marks was the first person who announced that Charlie went to heaven, is what he said. I'm going to show you that post right here. And the person who sent this to us, they sent it to us in Eastern Standard Time. Fortunately, they had it screenshots. Their buddy sent it to them, and it showed us the timeline. But it says here, Victor Marks wrote, "Pray for Erika and their two little children who need the prayers now that Charlie is in heaven. The shooter is in custody." And he did a video, and he announced that Charlie had died, and people in the comments were like, "But Glenn Beck posted he's stable. This is not confirmed. Who confirmed this? I haven't seen anything posted that he passed." And I remember this happening on the day. I do certainly remember that Victor Marks was the first person to say that Charlie had died, and you should know, but he posted that information at 1:13 p.m. Utah time, Mountain Standard. So that is less than an hour after Charlie was shot. Erika Kirk's dear friend Victor Marks announced that he had died. That's just 50 minutes after Charlie was shot. Who told him? I feel like that is early, and we should plot that here, revisit our minute-by-minute timeline from September 10th and see where that falls exactly, because it's almost like he knew with Erika. It's kind of like how Bibi knew a little too soon that he had been shot, commented too soon, just before the President of the United States, and Victor Marks put that video up at 1:13 p.m. That should be when Erika found out, when she got off the phone with the doctor about. So the public didn't officially find out until President Trump announced it at 2:40 p.m. on X. Again, this is all in Mountain Time, in the Mountain Time Zone. So yeah, he beat him by an hour and 27 minutes. It's weird. I think it's weird. You guys think it's weird? I want you to think about that, and we will be right back after a brief break.
What?
Recently, I've been obsessed with this seat cushion, especially if you sit for long hours like I do. Whether I'm working, driving, or just at home, sitting too long used to be super uncomfortable. But this extra large gel cushion completely changed that. It uses a honeycomb design that evenly distributes pressure so it doesn't collapse and stays breathable and cool all day. It also gives great support to your lower back and tailbone, so you don't feel tired even after long sitting.
Can y'all hit the like button so I can start it back?
All right, you guys, Mother's Day is one of the most beautiful times of the year to share life-changing news. You've probably been a part of those moments, a family gathered together when someone smiles and says, next year we'll have a brand new mom in the family. There's really nothing like it. But for some women, I choose to do business with company. Anyway, Victor Marks, back to him. Well, Baron Coleman also did some digging and determined that he is a licensed firearms dealer. Another brilliant find.
Where he lives, you will find he has an FFL Class 1 license. Class 1 license. What that means is he is a licensed firearm dealer. He is a licensed firearm dealer. Now, I don't know about your preachers.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so this is going to be my last time asking y'all to hit the like button. Next time, I'm not coming back. Get the likes up.
Anyway, Victor Marks, back to him. Well, Baron Coleman also did some digging and determined that he's a licensed firearms dealer. Another brilliant find. Take a listen.
But Candace made an interesting observation, is that this guy likes to buy a lot of guns. And what does he do with them? Like, how does a private citizen buy 50 guns at a time? And so we went looking, and what we found is he has a Class 1 FFL. Lots of websites you can look this up. This is one that we were able to redact his personal information out of. You will find the Class 1 designation on some of the other websites, but trust me, if you look him up, the Victor Marks Group LLC, in Colorado Springs, where he lives, you will find he has an FFL Class 1 license. What that means is he is a licensed firearm dealer. He is a licensed firearm dealer. Now, I don't know about your preachers. I've had a few over my years. I don't believe any of them have been licensed firearms dealers. I had a lot of political candidates that I've been around. I don't remember any of them being licensed firearm dealers.
Sure is interesting. I can tell you that Victor Marks still has not answered my messages, by the way. Despite doing the rounds in the press almost immediately, his wife, Eileen, he does not want Corby Hall to be present, the person whose letter I read. That's very relevant. He is a person that had the experience with you wanting weapons in Haiti when he advised against it, Israel. It would just make sense that Corby Hall should be here because I did not transact with Victor Marks for weapons in Haiti with Jimmy Barbecue. I gotta tell you guys, I'm a gut player, and just listening to Victor Marks' explanation regarding his dealings with Corby Hall did not ring true to me. Okay, I want you to listen to him explain. He admits that he threatened to beat Corby Hall up, but he gives an excuse for why he did that. Let me know if his excuse passes the test for you. Take a listen.
My daughter just accused me of getting Botox. My girlfriends think I've had a skin tightening treatment. The truth? No injections, no filters, just real living botanicals from the Arctic that gave me my face back. In my 50s, I started to see the years carved into my skin. Nothing worked anymore. Retinol burned my skin. Vitamin C made me peel. Expensive creams just sat there, heavy and useless. My face felt worn, crepey, and looked old. Every time I put on makeup, I felt like an older woman trying to look young. Foundation cracking around my mouth, concealer clinging to dry patches. Truth is, I miss the younger woman I used to see in the mirror. Then I found Froya Organics. A friend mentioned.
The one thing he said that is true is I did say I would whoop his ass.
What was the context of
Hall did not ring true to me. Okay, I want you to listen to him explain. He admits that he threatened to beat Corby Hall up, but he gives an excuse for why he did that. Let me know if his excuse passes the sniff test for you. Take a listen.
The one thing he said that is true is I did say I would whoop his ass.
What was the context of that?
He was, he's super depressed, having troubles, and we got him here, and I was walking around our training facility just for hours, walking, and he started making weird, threatening innuendos, but I ended up taking him into the training center and teaching him how to punch, because, he just said, I've never fought anybody. I feel like a coward. I said, well, you just need to learn how to do some basics. So I'm working on a bag with him to try to build up his confidence. It didn't last, though.
So just to be clear, that little edit that we did there, he's talking about the same day. So to recap, Corby Hall came, and Corby was like, I'm depressed. And he was like, well, I'm going to whoop your ass. It's just, and then They stare at each other, and then they do some more walking around the compound, and he implies that, like, he thought Corby Hall said something with innuendo. I don't know what that means, given the fact that he then in the next breath says that Corby Hall has never fought, and so he then took him to learn how to fight, how to throw a punch. I just don't feel like somebody would go to someone's property who is a gun enthusiast and a registered arms dealer and would just start a fight, not even knowing how to throw a punch. But that's what he wants us to believe. Like that Corby was surrounded by military men and a massive private property, private firearm dealer, and thought that it was a good idea to threaten the property owner who has the security all around. And then they just were like, yeah, did we just become best friends? Yeah, let's learn how to fight. Yeah, no, I don't know. Elsewhere in this interview, he's asked directly about trafficking arms, and here is what he was asked, and here is how he answered. Take a listen.
One of the primary accusations he has against you is that you are seeking to traffic rifles to Haiti, Israel, and possibly Iran. Have you ever sought to traffic rifles, arms of any kind to those countries?
Of course not. It's illegal. How would I even be where I am today? For years of working with federal, state, local authorities, that's something that he has dreamed up, I guess. But it's real simple. When people, and I'm realizing this day and age, when people bring allegations against you, I'm not one that has to defend it. They have to prove allegations or they're discredited. Because everybody now uses those words where you can't be sued for slander and liability, all that. So it's silly. And it's sad.
So just to clarify, Corby asserted that Victor Marks wanted guns sold in Israel. He never said anything about it being an illegal transaction. He asserted that the Haitian arms deal would have been illegal since you are not allowed to do those sorts of transactions with Haiti. Federally, he was like, you can't do that. So he declined and cautioned Victor Marks against it. He also, and I'm speaking about Corby, submitted to me some text messages, which certainly go some way of proving that Victor Marks, at the very least, was in communication with Israel to purchase guns, or rather to purchase the patent for his business, Fold AR, on behalf of the IDF. So I'm going to read these messages, and again, happy to have Victor Marks on this show, down and dispute and say these are inauthentic, but here they are. Victor Marks wrote, I've tried to help you in 3 specific areas: your personal walk, your marriage, and your business. I'm still willing to help put a deal in front of you, but this is my name, my reputation, and my relationships that are on the line. The Israeli Defense Group we are connected with is ready to review the patent and possible deal. Okay, so he's connected to an Israeli Defense Group. These messages are real. You don't know all of who I am, and that's fine. I'd like to know all of who you are. I think the state of Colorado might want to know all of who you are. He continues, but understand this. Just last night, a company that I'm part owner of got awarded a major SOCOM contract for highly specialized work. So I am telling you, God is moving, but he's not obligated to bless you just because you're talented or wounded. His grace is a gift, and he resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. And so in response, this is what Corby wrote. He wrote, why so much focus on the IDF and not as much on domestic schools? One to fund the other, ? Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. God did not have me design this for war. If he did, then it is for after schools. If he did, then it is for after schools are made the primary focus, and we have only covered less than 10%. IDF is not going to be using this for protection of children as a primary concern. Are they putting men in their schools with it? Correct me if I'm completely wrong. I would hate to send 1,000 units to the IDF and have an unprotected school get shut up here. Which actually brings up a good point. Can Israel guarantee to put 1 or 2 in each of its schools along with a military order? So this is exactly what he said with what we read, that he wanted to make sure the primary focus was going to be schools, and that Victor Marks did not like that, and he started using, God and this and timing and that to manipulate him. And Victor Marks replies and says, I'm glad you received my words. Let's see if you apply them. Corby, focus. You won't be sending 1,000 units to anyone in the IDF. You will get a paycheck for the patent and possibly your company, and then on to your next adventure. So he's basically saying, they're just going to buy it. They're going to buy you out. You don't have to sell anything to them. because they want your patent fourfold AR. So yes, he is. If these messages are him, they're not. I'm happy to have him dispute it. But I certainly don't think Corby made these up last night. And he, I believe, said that this conversation took place sometime in April. Skylar, is that right? I want to say it was April, but don't quote me on that. It was, okay. In April, he's transacting on behalf of the IDF. I mean, is there another way to interpret that? Like, they want your patent so that they can go do what? Are they known for anything good when it comes to schools?
One tiny flaw ruins most lighters, and almost nobody talks about it. Nearly all of them rely on butane gas.
So that conversation took place in April of 2025. What are we to conclude from it? I am happy, just to be clear, to have Victor on with his wife. If he'd like to have her, I have no problem with that. But we will need him to agree to sit down with Corby Hall because he sent me a ton of messages and I would like to begin to sort through them. Otherwise, I am happy to have just Victor on my show alone, one-on-one, if he would like to join me virtually to more generally discuss his life and how he became so close with Erika Kirk, how he knew. Initially, before anybody else, virtually at the same time as Erika Kirk, that Charlie Kirk had died.
Was a guy
before me? Certainly before me.
A guy on the
I'll leave it
hill.
at that. I will leave
You
it
could look
at
down while
that.
they were running to the car.
By the way, before we get into this
think
ATF
it was the
report,
guy
something
who
that I
took
forgot
the
to
camera
mention
down.
to you is that we found out
She must have
that
forgot he
Robert
was going
Maxwell,
live at the
yes,
scene, and
I
it
feel like
said
a lot of this is
the
circulating
guy said
around
he's dead.
Epstein and Robert Maxwell. If the former Mossad agent is to be believed, he's the one who brought Epstein together with Ghislaine, got him involved in arms trafficking first. If the former Mossad agent is to be believed, he's the one who brought Epstein together with Ghislaine, got him involved in arms trafficking first. People forget this little tidbit. But also Victor Atrovsky said the same thing.
Yeah,
He
my
was
lights are not
initially
going
brought
up. I'm going to
in
shut it down.
regarding the Iran-Contra deal in the 80s.
But thank you.
That is what
No cash
dealing with
app,
Adnan
no
Khashoggi.
support. Yeah,
Initially,
it's too
that
late
was
for
what
that.
he was brought in to do with Israel. Got turned into a blackmail ring. The Mossad agent that tells the story, there's clips of him. He says that like he thought that Jeffrey Epstein was an idiot, and they found more use to him blackmailing politicians. But originally, it was arms trafficking. I'm bringing this up to you because something that I forgot to mention is that Robert, together with Ghislaine, got him involved in arms trafficking first. People that. By the way, before we get into this ATF report, something that I forgot to mention to you is that we found out that Robert Maxwell, yes, I feel like a lot of this is circulating around Epstein.
Yep.
Robert Maxwell,
I've been telling y'all that.
if the former Mossad agent is to be believed, he's the one who brought Epstein together with Ghislaine, got him involved in arms trafficking first. People forget this little tidbit. But also Victor Atrovsky said the same thing. He was initially brought in regarding the Iran-Contra deal in the 80s. That is what, dealing with Adnan Khashoggi, initially that was what he was brought in to do with Israel. Got turned into a blackmail ring. The Mossad agent that tells the story, there's clips of him. He says that like he thought that Jeffrey Epstein was an idiot, and they found more use to him blackmailing politicians. But originally, it was arms trafficking. I'm bringing this up to you because something that I forgot to mention is that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was one of the early investors into Bain Capital, Mitt Romney's company. Who knew? What a tangled web we weave. The company was started with seed money from Ghislaine's dad.
Yeah.
And then he's best friends at this time with Netanyahu, Mitt Romney. They're at Boston Consulting Group. They're having trouble raising money. He's having trouble raising money for Bain Capital. Apparently, mention is that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was one of the early investors into Bain Capital, Mitt Romney's company. Who knew? What a tangled web we weave. The company was started with seed money from Ghislaine's dad. And then he's best friends at this time with Netanyahu, Mitt Romney, they're at Boston Consulting Group. They're having trouble raising money. He's having trouble raising money for Bain Capital. Apparently, the Los Angeles Times did a piece uncovering this. Netanyahu, Mitt Romney, they're at Boston Consulting Group. They're having trouble. What a tangled web we weave. The company was started with seed money from Ghislaine's dad. And then he's best friends at this time with Netanyahu. Mitt Romney, they're at Boston Consulting Group. They're having trouble raising money. He's having trouble raising money for Bain Capital. Apparently, the Los Angeles Times did a piece uncovering this back in 2012. When Mitt Romney was running, they learned that he was struggling to raise the initial $37 million that they wanted for their fund. So they turned to foreign investors, and Robert Maxwell gave him $2 million out of the $37 million, as well as some other foreign shady investors. Here it is. Excuse me, you're reading wrong. Show me your book. I'm going to take a picture of it. No. Yeah, that's fascinating. Like I said, a tangled web we weave. Eventually, I think we're going to need to put together a column of people that seem to just be 1 degree away from Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
On our spreadsheet. Eventually, that column might become necessary because it just keeps coming up as a recurring theme.
I've been telling y'all.
Back to the, or regarding rather the ATF. The ATF summary has been released. They're trying to make it catch or pretend that there's something in there that's big or explosive. It's not. It's not explosive. That's one of the things that I just keep saying, and I want to keep repeating myself so that you get this through your mind. They have not yet proven that Tyler Robinson's weapon was even fired on September 10th. That's nowhere. First thing you would do if you were brought into the police is they would conduct that basic test to see if you had gun residue on you. They would also test the weapon. Bomb dogs were brought in. They did not find that weapon, which means that it was not recently fired. Neither the bomb dogs or the canines were able to determine that. So that's a major problem here. From the beginning, I've been saying they are not going to be able to connect this gun. My belief of what happened is that Lance is way more involved. I believe he's a federal asset. I believe as his roommate, he got Tyler Robinson's gun. He got Tyler Robinson's casings and at an earlier time, and then that was dropped off at some point, maybe the day before or on September 10th. That gun was dropped off, and then it was found. And that's why the bomb dogs couldn't find it, because it was not recently fired. They can, I believe, smell it. Even if it rains, they could still smell the gun residue up to 7 days after the weapon is fired. They did not find it, so it was not fired, okay? And so they've released this ATF summary, to be clear, and the press is doing what they're doing because they've been trying to slant this case in favor of the prosecution, pretending that there's some bombshell in it. Just know that there is not a bombshell.
Nope.
It's getting no traction.
It's not even a
but we
high
can pull this up very
profile.
quickly, and it just basically
hearings.
verifies exactly what the defense laid out in their filing. That all
barely
they got
hear
was
him
this.
talking.
They got a summary report, and they told you what
I'm
they
gonna
took
get
a
ready
look
to shut
at.
it down,
They
y'all.
determined that the cartridge case matched the gun. That, okay, remember he's carving the case, okay, whatever, we knew that. I never was under any illusions that this was not going to be Tyler Robinson's gun. I knew that it was Tyler Robinson's gun. I knew that it had his prints on it, and it also had 6 sets of other prints. Whose prints are those? Who are the other, 5 other sets of prints
who dropped
that
it
are
off?
on that gun? That would be an interesting thing for us to learn. And so it basically says, yeah, the cartridges match the gun. That's all happening not inside of Charlie's body. And then it tells us that the bullet jacket, the fragments from the bullet jacket,
Oh, wow.
could not be identified or excluded as having been fired from the Exhibit 1 rifle based on an agreement of all discernible class characteristics.
Dorothy.
And so now they are asking, or they are alleging that they are going
I hope
to
you feel better.
look into the matter a different way. They're going to use microscopic comparison just in time for me to get a microscope for my birthday, because I promise you I will do tests. However they say they are conducting this, if they say it works, they can match this. I will make sure that I get into the backyard and I make sure that that is actually a manner that can be done. I am going to become an expert at microscopes overnight, I promise you, because this all now is beginning to look as it always has looked, which is like funny business. They are just trying to make this fit. They are corrupt. They know they don't have a case. They want to bring back old FBI tactics that were first put in place after JFK was shot, because they lied about that as well. And this is that all over again. He was assassinated. I believe the government, our government was involved. I believe foreign governments were involved as well, that this hit was allowed to go through, and that Charlie Kirk was removed as a barrier to the Iranian war. That is my opinion based off of everything that I have looked at, and that many people are now engaged in a cover-up. And I also believe that they're all going to get caught. So there's that happy, optimistic message. We'll be right back after a break. All right, you guys, you know that I am always looking for snacks and supplements that are made with real ingredients and nothing weird and artificial. That's why I have been loving Paleo Valley. Recently, my manager was saying that this bullet, which we were initially told, I'm telling you guys, I'm getting a microscope. Feds are effing around. They're going to find out. I'm telling ATF, you're going to find out. I'm going to get a microscope. I'm going to put on the glasses. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to examine whatever you say is the manner that in which you do this. You're not going to use a bunch of big words. Me use analysis of the bullet. Nope. We are going to do our due diligence with this case. If you are saying that this bullet, which we were initially told they found the bullet, now they're saying it's a fragment, and now they have to bring in special techniques to try to connect it. Doesn't make any sense. Nope. Doesn't make any sense at all. Top comment from yesterday's episode. That's correct. Where was all of this amazing security when Charlie said they're going to kill me? They were receiving his messages. Dan Flo was receiving his messages, and then after he failed to protect Charlie, didn't even, as I am told from our sources, did not even do a walkthrough. All he cared about in the lead up to that was ensuring that they had a clean exit behind Charlie. They ignored the security concerns that were expressed by the school that they
Good. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm trying to think out of all of the supplements that I take, what do I take to, because I don't take a prescription for it. I'm not sure if you're on the olive oregano or the what is it, clove tea. Get the hot boiling water, hot water, and drop some cloves in there. Yeah, but you got to stop drinking milk. You got to stop eating cheese. All of that stuff that keeps that inflammation on you. Yeah, and I don't know what type of bread that you eat. But you need to eat sourdough, fermented if you can. You know, because all of those things keep that mucus in our nose and chest. I can always tell when I eat. When I was when we used to tell y'all that my eyes around my eye area is puffy, I noticed I started paying attention to what I need for y'all to hit the like button. That's why I'm talking. And as soon as I stopped eating the bread that I was eating, I stopped eating the little packages of oatmeal, and I started just moving away from cheese. And I love cheese. Every time I would eat something with cheese on it, my face would swell up, and then my nose would be stuffy. But I don't get that mucus build up anymore because I'm real mindful. Let me hurry up and end this, baby. Let's go.
Shouldn't do this in a uncontrolled area for uncontrolled traffic area. They put him there like a sitting duck. They got him out of there fast. And then after that, what do we know? Dan Dan Flood gets offered a bonus and a raise from Erika. Okay. Totally normal. Maybe you should add that to the Daily Mail article. Not the most normal thing to do. Actually, you got one job and you failed it. You don't offer that person a promotion, but you did. Robert Madden wrote, the only threat she should worry about is the truth coming out. That is correct, guys. I have to show you this tweet. Speaking of which, that took me out when I saw this. I didn't even retweet because it was so good. I wanted to show you guys just on my show. This person, Zach, wrote, I interviewed the chair sending Erika death threats, and this is what it had to say.
Oh, good.
I'm completely shocked after watching this interview to see a scientist finally explain the human condition.
Just love the internet. I just love the internet. The internet is just always here for a good time. Okay, let's read some of your comments from today's episode. Nikki Schumacher writes, as a Reformed Baptist in the Deep South, I have started worshiping with the Presbyterians because I just can't with the false gospel of Israel is God's bride. It is just so obvious that it is a heresy, more obvious than it's ever been. Them constantly using Bible verses to tell you why it's totally fine for Israel to just incessantly murder children, just to incessantly steal. And I think across the board, by the way, I find Christian Zionists to be worse than the radical Zionists that are in Israel. I really do, because it's like there's something especially gross about doing it while wearing a veneer of Christianity. You can almost understand it for a lot of the Jewish Americans, right? In the same way, like I always say, like we were raised as Black Americans, and like you're kind of learning about slavery, and like that's going to be your scariest point of historical reference in school. You can understand when a Jewish Zionist, how they could fall into that trap, and a lot of them are now waking up. The scales are falling from their eyes. They are not with Bibi Netanyahu. Look at the polls. Jewish Americans are realizing he's just a mass murderer. So he's literally Jeffrey Dahmer. That's it. He just goes, but calls himself Prime Minister. He's like Prime Minister Jeffrey Dahmer. And then you have a bunch of people trying to tell you why it's biblical, what he's doing. Like constantly harming children, excusing the rape of prisoners who haven't even had any trials. They're literally just being held because they're Palestinian. And I totally agree with you that there's just an awakening happening all across. And you can see that in the numbers. People are leaving a lot of these Deep South Baptist churches because they realize they're not worshiping anything but the modern state of Israel, which has absolutely nothing to do with the Israel of the Bible. Biggie Kells writes, Erika canceled her fake and gay appearance because the true threat was Drewski showing up and outperforming her. It's actually funny because Barron clocked that on his show last night. He was like, I think she canceled the appearance because of Drewski. Like, because now everyone is like, this is what the world thinks of you, and she couldn't show her face. And she should have just said that, or she should have said nothing. You are allowed to say nothing. You are allowed to say, Erika's something came up, there'll be more information in the coming days, Erika's not going to be here tonight, that's it. But instead, Andrew came out there with the energy of, it's your fault. And he should apologize, but he won't, because he has exercised no humility in anything since September 10th. It's probably who he always was, if we're being frank. James the Least writes, I saw Ben Shapiro blaming you and your viewers for the threats against Erika. What a tool. Why are you watching Ben Shapiro? Like, who cares? I mean, this is the guy that sits down with Bibi Netanyahu and then tells us that Theo Von is a threat to civilization. Okay, he like literally interviews mass murderers like Zelensky on his show, and he's like, these people are great. What we really need to do is deal with Theo Von.
Here's the pen that erases scratches instantly. Look, no cut, no Photoshop. We let the
who's the happiest, kindest person. Theo Von is essentially the class clown, loves everybody left and right, makes everybody laugh and feel good, and Ben Shapiro, of course, could find a problem with Theo Von because since the time he was a kid, nobody has ever liked Ben Shapiro. And the world's caught on. He's been buying views throughout his entire life. He's never going to go away. Just get used to like that buzzing noise in the background. He wants popularity. He's never going to have it because of who he is as a person. Like who he is has nothing to do. His ideas suck too, but it's truly just how he deals with people and how he problematizes people for having a heart, which is what Theo Von has. That's what he hates about Theo Von, and he wants him canceled. Like, it's just unbelievable. Tim Morgan writes, I just read that. The most credible threat to Erika and her crew is the truth. Seven Sheets writes, if I am to believe the truth always wins, of which I am not fully convinced, but I must support the ones that I feel are searching for the truth. Brave and undeniably, fierce work, Candace, prayers and faith to cover us all. You have to believe, I'm telling you, in the end, truth does win. I just know it. I can't explain it. You can see it because they're just too radical. There's no strategy anymore. They're coming undone. And yes, there is a threat in their desperation. They're chaotic.
Right.
It's not moving like it used to move where they were trying to make friends. They don't care anymore. Again, like I just said, they're like taking shots at Theo Von, which is just dumb. Like objectively on its face, it's dumb. But, you have to be appealing. You have to have people like you. You can't just make enemies with everybody. Your argument can't just be, well, we have power and we're willing to cancel people for not agreeing with us. But I sense, like I said, in that a certain desperation, which certainly means that truth is winning. So we have to be the happy people. We have to be people that are laughing and just commit ourselves to constantly telling the truth and getting around their cancel culture, if you will. Miss Moxie writes, I need you to listen to the song Good Citizen by Aya May. I feel like you wrote the lyrics for her. We love you, Candace. God bless you and keep you in God's work. We are your army standing behind you always. Thank you. We Not Me 84 writes, maybe it wasn't 100% vanity and maybe it was a bit more nefarious. The donors have clearly chosen Rubio for 2028. Maybe this was part of the ongoing humiliation ritual of JD. Blessings to the CO team. Yeah, I saw, I follow Mel on X, Village Crazy Lady is her handle, and she thinks that they were trying to make JD Vance look bad. I certainly do think that Erika will dump him, without question. Like, she will just completely do that because she wants access in proximity to power. I mean, it's unbelievable how much wealth this girl has, that she's traveling around the way that she's traveling around. It's just unbelievable. But I do truly believe that it was the ticket sales last night because she went in, right? So if they were setting him up, she wouldn't have even gotten on the plane. I think she went there. They thought they were going to be able to last minute sell a bunch of tickets. They couldn't do it. They probably had those students running around just saying, like, we'll pay you to be there. And at that point, she was humiliated and decided that she didn't want to show her face. And JD Vance did what, honestly, Charlie would have done. That is the difference. Charlie had character. Charlie could admit when he failed, when something didn't work, and then he would have been scribbling on a notepad, here's what we need to do next to avoid this, and here's how we could have been better, how can we be faster, better, stronger, what can we do differently? And that demonstrates that he was a natural-born leader, and Erika is not a natural-born leader. She is, I don't even know how to describe her. She's ambitious as all hell, and she has an idea of where she'd like to be, but she has no idea what it takes to get there, and she's never demonstrated a capability to build something on her own and sustain it. And that might be harsh, but it's reality. That's the truth. If you'd like to support our show, you know that you can go to our website, and we have merch. Buy yourself some merch. Buy the Make America Christian Again hats. Those are beautiful. Those are just beautiful, right? Jean-Michel hats, also beautiful. That bumper sticker, can we just open that bumper sticker? Your car needs this. Your car is looking dirty. Your car is looking not beautiful. It needs an upgrade. It needs this bumper sticker. It needs a face that launched 0 ships. And you can get this now exclusively on CandaceOwens.com. That's what your car needs. I would be very upset if that wasn't on the back of your car. I want to see somebody with that on the back of their car. And I want to honk at them like a crazy person. So if you live in Nashville especially, you have to get that, buy that, and put it on your car. Anyways, you guys, it's Thursday, gosh, so I'm not going to see you tomorrow. I will see you for the book club tomorrow, because we bumped last week's to accommodate.
Okay, let me see what I... It was something I was trying to see on another device.
Okay, I think. Sharon delivered McDonald's.
This was an absolute disaster for Donald Trump in Las Vegas. He just wrapped up an awful speech before a very small crowd. He arrived about 90 minutes late. He was clearly humiliated that they put him in a really small, tiny room before a teeny tiny crowd. Let me just show you what this room looked like before he arrived. Let's play this clip right here.
I scarce can take it
Then Donald Trump started speaking, and he didn't know what a corner store was. I think the purpose of this speech, I guess, was to talk about affordability, something that Donald Trump has woefully failed on and defrauded Americans. But he doesn't even know what a corner store is. Let's play this clip.
Probably about $4,000 or $5,000, and they wanted to raise your taxes. The great big beautiful bill also slashed taxes on millions of American small businesses, including restaurants, dry cleaners, corner stores. What is a corner store? I've never heard that term. I know what a corner store is, but I've never heard it described. A corner store. Who the hell wrote that, please? And more.
Then Donald Trump started ranting and raving to the crowd that he is not a senior citizen. And he was being serious. He thinks he's not a senior citizen because I'm protecting the seniors, but I'm not a senior. Here, play this clip.
In addition to no tax on Social Security, over 51 million seniors now pay. Seniors are loving me, and I love them. Of course, I'm not a senior, so I cater to the seniors, but I don't happen to be a senior myself. Thank you very much.
Then Donald Trump talked about that ridiculous stunt, that scam they pulled in front of the White House with the DoorDash grandma. And even Donald Trump was like, yeah, that really wasn't believable what we tried to pull on everybody. Here, play this clip.
Earlier this week at the White House, I met a wonderful woman named Sharon Simmons, a grandmother driving DoorDash to help support her husband's cancer treatment. She's got serious cancer. She's going to be okay, I think. Sharon delivered McDonald's to the Oval Office.
Her husband is a crisis actor.
To be honest, it was a little tacky. They come up with these crazy ideas like McDonald's, although that was the biggest ever on Google. They say #1 ever, and the garbage truck. I mean, we do these things in politics. They're a little embarrassing. They're a little tiny embarrassing, but we do them, and you win by landslides. It's one of the. So we got to keep doing them. No, we got to knock on the Oval Office door. This does not happen. That's the first maybe in the history of the Oval Office. And it was a very beautiful woman standing there with 2 big bags of McDonald's hamburgers. And I say,
she's a crisis actor.
But the point of it was she made...
Yeah, even Donald Trump admits that scam failed. Remember, we did the expose on the Midas Touch Network about that scam? But then Donald Trump said the way he's going to help with affordability very soon, he's going to start increasing tariffs again, which are taxes on the American people. Okay, Donald, here, play this clip.
Very big factor, and it's having a huge impact on our car companies, which are expanding like never before. We're selling more cars now. A lot of it has to do with tariffs. You pay no tariffs if you come here. If you don't come here, you pay a lot of tariffs, and we're raising those tariffs very soon. Not on you, it's on people from the outside
and they
that don't
keep
build their
him
plants
say this.
here. We have now hundreds of billions. We have actually $18 trillion being invested in the United States.
Then Donald Trump says he likes Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent because when Donald Trump speaks, the markets get panicked. But when Bessent speaks, the markets get soothed. Here, play this clip.
More about these incredible things that are happening, I'm going to ask really a respected guy, a great guy too. He's difficult, this guy. He's difficult, but he's great. And when he speaks, the whole market gets soothed. When I speak, the market goes a little jittery. And they say, Scott, go out there, clean it up for me, Scott. But no, he's a fantastic guy. And Scott, you're going to say a few words, and then we're going to hear from a few of the people.
And Donald Trump says that the war in Iran is going swimmingly. He says it's going amazing. Maybe it ends soon. Maybe it doesn't. But he said it was the perfect war. So perfect. Here, play this clip.
And all over the world, they laughed at us, and they don't laugh anymore. They are not laughing. They're not laughing anymore. I don't think anybody. Just ask those I don't want to be a wise guy. I don't want to speak too soon, but we do very well. You notice that we're doing very well. And I will say the war in Iran is going along swimmingly. We can do whatever we want. And it should be ending pretty soon. It was perfect. I mean, it's perfect. It was the power we have, our military. We have the most powerful military anywhere in the world. I built it 4 years, my first 4 years.
Then he goes on to say, when people hear about inflation, it's fake. He says it's fake inflation. Let's play this clip.
Wow.
In the report released last week, core inflation was
Joey.
down to the lowest level in 5 years. And very shortly, we're going to be probably 8 or 9 years. Don't forget, we're having some fake inflation because of the fuel, the energy prices, which everybody said was going to $250. We were talking about that, Scott. They said $250, $300. I mean, today, what was it? It finished at $89 or $90, right? And that's in the, we haven't settled yet. Maybe we won't, but I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Then Donald Trump talks about why he blew up Iranian ships, and he's like, why'd we blow him up? He's like, I would have wanted to use those ships. We couldn't have turned the Iranians into American soldiers. Here, play this clip.
You need a lifesaver on hand. It should store for a long time, prepare easily, and taste incredible, so it can provide real peace of...
150. I got angry. I said, why didn't you save them? We could have used them, They would rather shoot them than save them. I said, what the hell? It's only money. But some of them were good. They had one named the Soleimani. You know what the Soleimani? We took him out.
Then Donald Trump goes on to say that every single American at every income level is rich right now. Everyone is doing great, which we know is not the case. Play this clip.
But every single American at every income level has more money in their pockets this week because of the Republican tax policies. And we got to win the midterms. If we don't, these policies are going to be taken away from you. The taxes are going to go through the roof.
Then he says a year ago, the United States was an embarrassment to the entire world. The whole world laughed at us. You were in office a year ago. Let's play this clip.
Our country, a year ago, our country was an embarrassment. And all over the world, they laughed at us. And they don't laugh anymore. They are not laughing. They're not laughing anymore. I don't think...
He then said all of these consultants are saying that gas prices are going to be $300 a barrel. Actually, Donald, I know we're looking at the futures prices right now, and that's what we're seeing with the crude, WTI, and Brent. But some of the actual sales in Asia, people are buying about $280, $300 per barrel. But go on and play this clip.
It's amazing. I had people. We have consultants, great guys that we both know and we see. They're very talented. Sir, if you do this, fuel is going to go to $300 a barrel, right? One guy in particular who we like a lot. But I said, I don't think so. I think we're going to be good. We always find a way. You got to find a way. But, sir, don't do it, sir. $300 a barrel. It's going to be a wild thing. It's going to be horrible. The depression is going to happen. Well, it's not going to happen because we just hit a brand new all-time high. Then fuel is at 89. It's actually a lot lower than that in a lot of areas.
They still laughing, yeah.
But let's not get away from,
They don't
let's see what
realize
happens
it yet.
over the next week or so. I think you're going to be very impressed. And if you are, vote for the Republicans in the midterms, okay?
Then Donald Trump says, look, everything is booming. He's like, when you talk about this war, he goes, I did this perfect war in 2 months. He's like, Vietnam, it lasted 17 years. I pulled it off in 2 months. Here, play this clip.
Thanks to our cuts today, the economy is booming. Our economy is booming. You don't read about it. You don't see it so much because of what's going on in Iran, which is really, it's been 2 months. I mean, 2 months. You've been in other wars for 18 years, 4 years with me. I'm in there for a month. Well, he said he'd get out a month. Did you see where I did a list last week? 17 years in Vietnam, 5 years in Afghanistan, and much more than that. And all these different places. And I said, we were in there for 2 months. And you know what? We're going to have victory very shortly. This is not...
Well, yes, in 2 months, you managed to destroy American security umbrella abroad. You managed to strengthen Iran. You managed to basically destroy NATO. Great job, Donald. And then he goes on to say, but it's all fake news. You know, you watch the fake news and, you know, they're so mean to me. Let's play this clip.
No, it's all over. There's so many, even in the fake news, where they have these different. You always want to watch the enemy a little bit. You don't want to watch too much. You want to find out where they're coming from, and they come from dark places.
Oh,
But
Lord.
even there, people are saying, wow, this is really amazing.
And he said, I came to Vegas with one important message. You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. That's the message that he said. He came to Vegas to say you're welcome. Here, play this clip.
And thanks to our tax cuts this week, thousands of Nevada waiters, waitresses, casino dealers, bartenders, bellmen, barbers, caddies. So I love those caddies. They're very good if you have the right caddy. And valets receive the biggest tax refunds of their entire lives, and you see it. And I just want to say you're welcome. You're welcome.
And then he said he had the best economy during his first term in office, which he didn't. It was COVID. It was terrible. But he goes, now it's even better and everybody is thriving. Let's play this clip.
We had the best economy in the history of our country in my first term, and we're blowing it out now. We're blowing it away now.
He believed his
despite our
lies.
little diversion.
And then as Donald Trump left, he kept on making social media post after social media post like this one. I hope Hezbollah acts
Heaven help us
nicely
all.
and well during this important period of time. That's going to show him. Just tell him to act nicely and well. Then Donald Trump goes after the Republican George W. Bush judge who once again blocked the construction of his ballroom. A Trump-hating judge for the first time in history wants Congress to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for a glorious ballroom instead of accepting donations from great American companies and citizens. This is a first. In other words, he wants taxpayers to pay for the ballroom. No, he just said, have Congress approve the private citizens. That's all he said. More attacks on the ballroom by him. He then went on to more attacks on the ballroom. And he then starts attacking Jessica Tarlov and says, I'm on Air Force One. And he goes, I don't like Jessica Tarlov. She's one of the least attractive and talented people on television. Her voice is so grating and terrible. I had to turn her off. Everybody hit subscribe. I'm going to read more of it. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others.
Absolutely does not want us to do. We are 36.6 million. That is all it cost. Not 36 billion, not 36 trillion, $36 million. That is the price China charged Iran for the satellite that located Benjamin Netanyahu's most classified underground bunker in Tel Aviv. The same bunker that Israeli intelligence spent years hiding. The same location that America's entire signals intelligence apparatus, the NSA, the CIA, the NRO, with a combined annual budget exceeding $90 billion, was supposed to make untouchable. One commercial satellite, $36 million. And the most protected man in the Middle East was suddenly visible from space. Nobody on cable news is running this number, because running this number forces a question that the entire Western intelligence establishment does not want answered publicly. If a $36 million Chinese commercial satellite can find Netanyahu's secret bunker, what exactly are we getting for $90 billion a year? I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened. The satellite, the targeting, the strike, and the number that connects all of it to your fuel bill, your grocery receipt, and the bond market that holds your pension together. I'm Daniel. This is Rolex Economics. Today we are going to do what the Pentagon absolutely does not want us to do. We are going to run the numbers. Here is the official version of events. Iran has been absorbing Israeli and American airstrikes since Operation Epic Fury began. Over 7,000 strikes. Claimed destruction of 80% of Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Claimed elimination of ballistic missile launch ramps. The narrative from Washington and Tel Aviv was linear and confident. Degrade, suppress, dominate. That narrative collapsed on April 14th and 15th, 2026. In the 49th and 53rd waves of what Iran designated Operation True Promise 4, Iranian missiles did not miss. They did not scatter. They did not strike approximate coordinates. They struck precise ones. The Haifa refinery, Israel's largest energy processing facility, was hit with direct impact accuracy. Netanyahu's classified Tel Aviv underground command bunker was targeted with coordinates specific enough to produce structural damage assessments. These were not lucky shots. These were the product of verified, real-time, high-resolution targeting intelligence. And the source of that intelligence is where the story becomes extraordinary. In late 2024, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Aerospace Forces acquired the Earth ITE-01B, a commercial reconnaissance satellite manufactured by Earth Eye Codecurs, a Chinese firm based in Beijing. Purchase price, $36.6 million. The satellite operates electro-optical sensors capable of producing imagery
Well,
at resolutions
technically,
that
the
identify
point,
individual
the
structures,
point five
underground facility entrance points,
is
and
the
military
overtime.
infrastructure that ground-level intelligence cannot map.
So it's anything over 40 hours is overtime. I mean, so technically, it is the one. It is the point five. I think there is the people who didn't calculate it right. No taxes on overtime. Anything over 40 hours, there's no taxes on it. So, in essence, that calculation is correct. Time and a half. So there's no taxes on the half.
Throughout this conflict, the TEE-01B has been orbiting Hormuz, Tel Aviv, and American forward operating bases across the region, feeding targeting coordinates directly into Iran's ballistic.
Time and a half. Overtime is time and a half. Double time is time. 40 hours is time and a half. If they say no, no taxes on overtime, that's on the overtime. So that is past in over 40. Time and a half. Now, I don't know how you going to spend it. Nowhere did it say that you get no taxes on the 1.5. Said no taxes on overtime. Overtime is the 0.5. You just wanted it to be on the 1.5. Technically, this time they right. Time and a half. The overtime comes after 40 hours. Anything past 40 hours is not taxable. No tax.
Missile fire control systems.
The 40 hours
the Chinese
still
Foreign
has
Ministry
tax.
denied everything. Of course they did. But the Financial Times sourced this from leaked documents, and the missile impact patterns tell the rest of the story with a precision that denial cannot erase. Now run the numbers, because this is where the math becomes devastating. The United States National Reconnaissance Office operates the most sophisticated space-based intelligence architecture in human history. Total American intelligence community budget, approximately $90 billion annually. The explicit mission of that apparatus, information superiority, the ability to know everything about an
Overtime is
before
time
the
and a
adversary
half.
knows anything about you.
Overtime is time and a half. You get the break on the half, not the time.
This is not just a military advantage. It is the foundational premise of every American military doctrine written since 1991. Iran spent $36.6 million on one satellite and eliminated that premise over the Middle East theater in a single procurement cycle. The cost-exchange ratio here is not unfavorable. It is not problematic. It is a mathematical humiliation. For every dollar.
Double time is double time. That's 2.0. Double time is double time. So that's 2.0. So that means if it's 2.0, then it's no taxes on half of the 2.0. You know, I don't care how you look at it. Those 40 hours is not going to be tax free. Anything past those 40 hours is tax free. You can put a dollar amount on it if you want to. I don't care how you spend it. This part, this type of stuff, no. It is only tax free on the 0.5 or the one of the 2.0 for double time. So, no. You got it wrong. I'm sorry. Even double time is only not taxed at 5. No, it would be taxed in 1.0 if it's double time. Anything past, so that means 80 hours. So 40 of it, you pay taxes on it, and 40 of it, you don't. I'm talking about hours wise, if it's double time. But if it's just straight pay and it's overtime, it's the 0.5 is the overtime. The 40 hours is not. But okay, we don't have to talk about that no more. You don't get in agreement with. I don't agree with your terminology. That's just greed to me. That's just wanting to argue about something because it's clearly overtime is past 40 hours. So for you to think it should be more, you wrong.
Iran spent on the TEE-01B, America had spent roughly 2,160 on intelligence infrastructure that the TEE-01B just rendered operationally irrelevant in this conflict.
I don't have to go ahead
Here's
and
the
read
implication
nothing.
that
I
goes
got
far
it.
beyond Netanyahu's bunker.
I agree with them. You
Information
got it wrong.
superiority is not just about knowing where your enemy is. It is the mechanism that allows smaller forces to defeat larger ones.
You make an appointment
It
to
is
go
what
sit
allows
down with
precision strikes to
RS
substitute for mass. It is what allows a carrier strike group to project power without having to absorb attritional
I
losses.
agree with them.
Strip away information superiority and the entire American way of war since Desert Storm unravels mathematically. The TEE-01B did not just find Netanyahu's bunker. It demonstrated that the American information monopoly over Middle Eastern airspace has been commercially circumvented for $36.6 million, and that demonstration is now known to every defense ministry, every insurgent planning cell, and every peer competitor on Earth. Stay with me. Because what happened in the skies over Israel on the same nights is the second half of this equation. And the second half is where the math gets truly ugly. Iran's missile salvos in the 49th and 53rd waves deployed K-bar-Shekin solid fuel ballistic missiles, Fata hypersonic systems traveling at multiples of the speed of sound, and Pave long-range cruise missiles with cooperative engagement capability, meaning they communicate with each other mid-flight, generate decoy profiles, and distribute the radar tracking load across multiple simultaneous approach vectors. Against this architecture, Iron Dome, David's sling, and arrow performed exactly as physics and mathematics predicted they would perform when faced with saturation designed to exceed their engagement envelopes. The term of art is leakers, missiles that get through, and leakers at hypersonic velocity carrying cluster munitions that separate into hundreds of submunitions upon atmospheric entry. These are not a system failure. They are a cost exchange problem that no point defense network can solve with current technology. Here is the number that makes this concrete. A single K-bar Shekin costs Iran approximately $1 to $3 million to produce. A single Arrow 3 interceptor costs Israel and the United States approximately $3.5 million per shot. David's sling interceptors run $1 million each. When Iran fires coordinated salvos of 50 to 100 missiles, mixing ballistic, hypersonic, and cruise profiles, the defending side is forced into an exchange ratio where every dollar Iran spends costs Israel and America between $1.50 and $4 to counter. Run that math across weeks of sustained operations. Run it across the PRSM precision strike missiles that the U.S. Army has now confirmed were entirely depleted in this theater, weapons designed for a Pacific conflict with China, consumed in the Middle East. The magazine depth problem is not theoretical. It is documented, and it is here now. And this is the moment where I need you to understand something that changes the entire strategic picture.
Hey,
The
Mr.
Haifa
Lucky.
refinery is not a symbol, it is a mechanism. Israel's largest petroleum processing facility, now burning, directly impacts the country's ability to sustain fuel for military logistics, civilian transport, and the electrical grid. When Israel struck Iran's South Pars gas fields, Refinery 4 and Refinery 7, combined daily capacity of 100 million cubic meters, Iran's IRGC spokesperson stated this was a threshold that would produce reciprocal infrastructure targeting. The Haifa strike was not escalation. It was a documented, pre-announced doctrine being executed with satellite-guided precision. Energy infrastructure warfare has now entered the conflict as a permanent operational layer. And this is exactly where the number on your screen translates to the number on your receipt. Let us talk about your wallet. Because the TEE
Yeah, I'm
01
finna go to
targeting
sleep.
data
I'm
in the
sorry.
Haifa refinery fire are not events happening